coming up.
I'm utterly terrified at this point.
A family from Utah fear for their lives in a crash landing.
This is for real. We're going down.
Whilst a holiday flight to Thailand ends in tragedy.
I thought that the plane was going to explode.
A tornado causes devastation at St. Louis Airport.
This big black cloud just swirling above me.
I don't want to be here.
And in Milwaukee, it's a race against time to save a child from a blazing inferno.
If we don't get him out, he's going to die.
In world's worst disasters. Disasters strike when we least expect them. And it's the unexpected that can make these dramatic events so shocking.
Hell yes! Oh, thank Jesus!
But man-made or natural, disasters have the potential to change lives forever, as was the case for a kayaking couple trapped under a bridge at high tide.
I knew, I was not going to be able to survive.
Dennis Riley and Sulina Thompson make the most of living in the Bay Area of Boston.
It's just the most glorious thing about living in this beautiful place is to be on the water. Kayaking on a day like this was absolutely glorious.
We had planned to go up the Weir River estuary to what we call West Corner.
Along with a friend, Dennis and Sulina were kayaking with the current of the incoming tide. But whilst enjoying the scenery, all three kayakers got into trouble when they were sucked into the opening of a culvert, a pipe carrying water under a bridge.
I didn't know whether I was going to die right then.
The friend was rescued by a passing boat, but Sulina and Dennis weren't so lucky.
And I ended up faced up against this post with the current pushing against me.
And I just got sucked into the culvert.
My heart sank. I thought, she's gone.
Incredibly, Sulina managed to grab onto a water pipe before the current could drag her under.
Dennis screamed to me, are you okay? And I said, yes, I can still hold on, but my head is getting closer to the top of the bridge, where I'm not going to be able to breathe.
Called by passers-by, Fire Officer Jay King was among the first to arrive on the scene.
It was chaotic. I saw Dennis, and he was screaming, my wife's drowning, my wife is drowning. Do something, please. I took my shoes off and dove in the water. I knew the current was going to take me inside the culvert, which it did. By sheer luck, I got right to her. She was in the back side of a 30-inch water main, trapped.
Man pops out of the water, and he, in a deep voice, he says, I'm Jay King. I'm firefighter Jay King. Hold on tight or we're both gonna die.
I just told her, do as I tell you, and we're gonna stay alive.
More help arrived in the shape of Fire Captain Chris Russo.
When I looked over the bridge, I saw people in the water. So what we did, we took an extension ladder and we put it down in the river.
Lo and behold, somebody's lowering a ladder down the opening. I was thinking, stairway to heaven.
When I get down, the first thing I have in front of me is I have one of the victims. I could see inside the culvert, and I could, talk to Jay and Sulina and ask them, what was going on, and tell them I was coming for them.
Hold me back up halfway. Hold me up halfway. Halfway.
I was having a hard time getting around the front of the ladder because the current had pulled my shorts down to my ankles, and my ankles were all tied up.
Hey, right here with me. Rope. That rope for the loop.
Finally, I just said, well, what? I could hear somebody above me, so I just reached my hand up like this, and somebody grabbed it and pulled me up.
All right. Get you up. Get you up. You gotta let go. Grab my hand. Grab my hand. Grab me. One, grab onto me. Grab onto me. Up.
I didn't realize there were a lot of people there. So, for an instant there, I was buck naked in front of everybody.
Okay, more line on me, please.
But Sulina and her rescuer Jay were still trapped under the bridge.
The water was just coming up, the tide was rising. Chris made the decision that it was time we had to get out.
I'm going to send you a rope and a life jacket.
10, 15 minutes later, this is about recovering bodies out of the culvert. And it's not a rescue anymore.
All right, another rope and a life jacket. Rope and a life jacket. Life jacket and a rope.
He starts screaming to Jay, and and then he's screaming to me.
You're going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
He floats back these life thing with the harness on it to be able to pull us out.
I got one. I got one. I need this. How long is that? I need 35 feet. We need a loop.
I wrapped the rope around her 5 times, and I tied it in a knot. And I explained to her what they were going to do.
He said, I can't go with you because they can't pull us both out together.
We had quite a bit of dialogue, me and Sulina, because she would not let go of the firefighter, and I couldn't pull them both out by hand. So eventually with Jay talking to her, he says, you gotta go. He's my best friend. He's not gonna leave me here.
And then they just started pulling me.
Okay, let's go. Stop pulling. Stop pulling. Come this way. Come this way.
And my head is going under the water, and I still think I'm gonna drown.
Hey, Mark. If they put that rope around the...
When I got her to the opening of the culvert, I had to push her back underwater. And the last thing someone who's almost drowned wants to hear is that you're gonna push me back underwater.
Easy, yeah. I got her hand. Put your head up. Put your head up. Head up. Hold on right here. Head up. All right, I got a rope right here now. I'm gonna pull her up. I'm gonna pull her up here. Yeah, up to the shore if you can. Watch the boat. Push that boat back.
With Dennis and Sulina both safe, attention turned to fireman Jay, still trapped under the bridge in the rising water.
After she was gone, a feeling of being alone there, it isn't a great feeling. I don't care if you're a rescuer or not.
Yeah, how are you doing? I'm good, brother. 2 minutes, okay?
And I yelled to him, get me out of here.
Ready? I got slack. Back up.
With the tide still rising, a support boat helped with the final rescue.
You're going to go under for 1 second. Go around the ladder. Go around the ladder.
We were able to secure Jay's rescue ropes to the boat. And then I worked with the captain on that little Zodiac boat, and he was able to back the boat out and help me pull Jay back out of the culvert.
This sucks. You're here now, though.
They were cheering, but it wasn't a good moment. It was a very daring rescue.
And I think they were giving me, I don't know what, oxygen, something, to revive me. And I saw Jay, and I was like, whoa. They got me into an ambulance. Jay came in, and I knew he was safe. And it was just amazing. The entire thing was extremely emotional. Yeah.
Coming up on World's Worst Disasters, a family flight comes to an abrupt end in Utah. And a holiday flight to Thailand ends in tragedy.
Insane that we actually seen a plane crash.
This is the moment a young family faced death as their light aircraft crashed in Utah. In February 2013, the Fielding family decided to take Mum, Cara, on a birthday flight over the Cache Valley.
It was my first flight ever, and so this was my big birthday surprise.
Alongside her was husband Jonathan, baby son Jacob, and grandma Catherine.
I thought it would be fun to take Jacob.
Flying the plane was family friend Lynn Goodsell.
fun just to take people, and a lot of them notice things that they've never noticed before, see things they haven't seen.
I was so excited to go up in a plane. A little bit anxious, a little bit hesitant, those fears in the back of your mind. What if, what if, what if? The view from the front of the plane is spectacular. It's beyond what I could have imagined.
It was a beautiful day to be flying. It was totally clear, it was sunny.
We were flying around for probably 45 minutes, and then I thought, hey, let's go to the neighboring city, which was just over the mountain pass.
To reach the next city, Lynn had to fly his light aircraft over 9,000 feet. In normal weather, this wouldn't be a problem, but the winter temperature had dropped rapidly, and ice was forming on the plane's carburetor.
Normally, when you get carburetor ice, your engine will start running a little rough. We were climbing and doing different maneuvers, and so if there was any drop of RPMs or manifold pressure, I didn't notice it. My first inkling that there was something wrong was our motor killed.
The engine's gone out, and we've been told that we don't have power anymore.
I said, oh crap.
I am pretty terrified. I don't know what we're going to do now.
From 8,500 feet, Lynn had to glide the plane down with no engine power.
So I dropped the nose to get a glide rate of 70 miles an hour. That's the speed we can fly the furthest distance and still have complete control of the plane.
We were at the tip tops of the mountain. The thought this could be my last moment did go through my head.
We're at the top of...
Just wanted to record my thoughts.
The overpass, and we were just told that there's carburetor ice. So, this is kind of exciting.
Like an idiot, I'm recording and holding my son.
I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I have my son here. What if we crash? What if he dies? What if I die? What if any member of my family dies?
That's when it really kind of sank in, like, oh, this is for real. We're going down.
Jonathan tried to comfort his family.
I'm not worried. I think we're gonna be just fine.
But his cool bravado didn't completely hide his fears.
I love my family. I know we're gonna be just fine. But this is kind of scary.
If you start to skid in a car, you've got seconds before you crash. In an airplane, we had 5 minutes to think about what was gonna happen. And that's a long time to reflect on your life, to reflect on, is this the end?
Jonathan had another worry. He was holding his son as there were no baby seats or straps to secure him.
I grabbed hold of him, really tightly.
With a field identified, the small plane was in a tough situation. No landing strip, no easy way to slow it down, and a baby unsecure in the back.
As we came into the field, we banked really hard back around, and that really threw us back into our seats. And that was probably the first, okay, here it comes. Brace yourself, get ready.
I've got a firm grip, white knuckles. I'm very nervous because my baby is in the back seat. It's very terrifying.
All right, we're gonna land the field right here.
Is everybody okay?
Yeah.
The first thing I hear when we're upside down is Jacob crying. Where's my baby? And I still had him in my arms, so I reach up and grab his head and tuck him in because we're upside down now.
I unbuckled as quickly as I could.
I didn't expect that.
And I can hear him crying, so I know he's alive. I don't let Jacob fall asleep until he's been checked out. Make sure that nothing is broken and he's gonna survive. And once that's been settled, he's all right, then I let him fall asleep. The moment we hit the ground, it's like an explosion. This very loud, crunching metal.
To me, it was...
All hell breaks loose. I'm being thrown around in my seat, like whiplash.
We're upside down.
Okay, well, we have just survived a crash landing. I'm really sorry about your plane. Are you okay?
At over 30 miles an hour, the plane had cartwheeled to a halt.
That damage to your plane is better than loss of life.
Absolutely. Kara, are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you gonna ever fly again?
Yeah.
I knew that we'd be fine. I didn't expect that. Okay.
Jonathan's still recording, and I say something to the effect of, Jonathan, we've just been in a plane crash. I could use a hug. Put the phone away.
Although everyone walked away from the crash without a scratch, for pilot Lynn, there has been one lasting consequence.
My insurance policy had expired at midnight that night before. That was really bad. That was kind of devastating. You just don't expect these kinds of things to happen.
There are over 93,000 flights worldwide every day. Nearly every single one is uneventful. But this is the moment after an internal Thai flight went wrong.
Saying that we actually had a plane crash.
People died and lives were changed forever. Thailand, September 2007. Christopher Marken and Eric Neelan were on the holiday of a lifetime.
We were doing basic backpacker stuff, basically. We flew into Bangkok and we were having a good time there. And just walking around on Koh San Road, going out drinking and doing all the regular stuff.
We went to see some historical sites, like the bridge over the River Kwai.
After a couple of days in Bangkok, they decided to fly to southern Thailand.
We decided to go to Phuket and we wanted some beach and some good times in the sun.
I really want to go to the sun.
But the boys don't touch down on the beach.
There was a lot of turbulence on the way down.
There was no warning of anything.
I don't think I even realized that we were crashing.
I thought it was just a heavy landing.
The panel in front of it, on top of us, fell down.
When we were skidding on the runway,
the plane just stopped suddenly. I just saw orange smoke. I just yelled, out, out, out. And he started to try to open the emergency door.
I thought that the plane was going to explode.
Their plane, with 130 passengers on board, had just smashed into an embankment next to Phuket's runway. Fortunately for the boys, they were sitting next to the emergency exit.
Christopher tried to open the emergency door. And I remember I sort of panicked because I remember trying to help him, but I just realized I'm just going to make it worse.
I was in such a hurry to get out, so I just opened the door and got out on the wing. And the wing itself was pretty wet, and I skidded off the wing and down in the ditch. It was pretty much a 2.5 meter fall.
As flames and smoke engulfed the aircraft cabin, the boys watched on in horror.
That we actually had a plane crash.
And then injured people started coming.
Some of them were bleeding pretty heavily, and we tried to help as good as we could. Maybe 20 or 30 people had climbed out of the plane.
Everyone was very shocked. No one realized what happened. So it was weird.
The impact speed of the crash crumpled the cockpit instantly, killing the pilots and ripping a hole down the right side of the fuselage.
I don't think we realized how bad it was until afterwards.
We were actually seeing the left side of the plane, and that was the side of the plane that gotten the least injuries, because on the right side of the plane it's been ripped up pretty much from the emergency exit and all the way to the front, I think.
Within 2 minutes, airport fire engines arrived and began putting out the fire. All survivors of the crash escaped through the emergency exit Christopher had opened.
I think the fact that we managed to get the door open so fast, it probably saved some lives.
40 people survived, but 90 passengers were killed as a result of the crash. At the time, flying conditions were tough, but investigators found that the accident was solely down to pilot error.
Insane that we actually had a plane crash.
2 days later, the boys returned to the airport to collect their belongings.
We went into this big freight hangar, and that was really the first time I felt really bad, because I was walking into a hangar and there was 90 dead people.
There were people all over the hangar trying to identify their relatives there. There were pictures of dead people, and there were bodies, and the people were really upset there.
People left there to identify the dead, and we left with our luggage. That was not a good feeling. That was quite bad.
Coming up on World's Worst Disasters, flash flooding in Colorado causes chaos.
Like a rag doll just carried me down the canyon.
Oh my God.
And in Milwaukee,
We need water!
firefighting brothers risk their lives to rescue a child from a blazing car.
There's a baby in there!
If we don't get him out, he's going to die.
Turn it on! Come on, hurry!
One of the most terrifying disasters imaginable is being caught in a blazing inferno.
We need water! There's a baby in there!
Even worse, when there's a child engulfed by flames and unable to escape.
Come on!
When you realize that there's a child trapped, it only intensifies your efforts.
You know, knowing that, you know, it's only a matter of, you know, a few seconds.
Come on, get the baby out!
If we don't get him out, you know, he's going to die.
Turn it on! We're ready for the kid! We're ready for the kid!
When there's fire in your blood, it's hard to fight tradition. Like their father before them, John and Joel Recklitz are both seasoned firefighters.
I've been on the Milwaukee Fire Department for 24 years. And in our training and the experience that we've gained with the fire department, you know, it's always about trying to handle the task at hand.
But it was in July 2009 that the brothers' firefighting skills were tested to the limit.
It was a beautiful summer day here in Wisconsin. We were planning a little family barbecue with my brother, his family, and my family.
We just literally popped open our bottles of beer, and John received a call from his wife, and very urgent, and I could tell instantly, just from the expression of John's face, that something was amiss.
A car on fire, people trapped, please hurry. When we got on scene, it was surrounded by individuals who were trying to smash the windows on the vehicle.
And I knew as soon as I saw that the situation wasn't good.
Did someone call 911?
People must be trapped, because when there's a fire, people scatter.
We knew that whoever was trapped inside either did not have much time left or already had perished.
Passers-by pull a 2-year-old baby from the burning car, and after smashing the windscreen open, the mother also escaped. But as the off-duty firefighters ran over to the wreck, her 4-year-old son was still trapped inside.
We saw the child. He was frantically screaming. He was staring right at myself and my brother. It's at that moment, you know, there's definitely a bond, you know, that happened. The fact that, you know, he's alive and he's looking at you, you are going to do everything you possibly can.
We need water!
It's hot, you know, it's scary, but you put that aside.
I took a big deep breath, tried to kind of clear my mind, and I made entry.
Get in!
It was very hot inside the vehicle. There's a lot of noise. You focus on him, and you know he's a beautiful, you know, little boy, you know, blue eyes, and he's looking at you, but there's fire around him, and it was a very, you know, surreal event.
In spite of this, adrenaline kicked in.
The young child's in a booster seat, and when the car flipped over, it cinched the seatbelt in tight. I could not find the buckle release, and that was the only way we could get the child out.
The off-duty firefighters were working with no breathing apparatus or protective clothing.
You know, there was hot plastic that was dripping down from the roof. I received some second and third degree burns to my arms, and I realized that I wasn't making headway.
All those factors become too much. So he backs out. As he backs out, I go in. I'm trying to get at the seatbelt. I can't get it. At that moment, I made the decision that this isn't going to work. We need a knife.
Get a knife! Get a knife! Come on!
I'm screaming. It registered with bystander. And he ran up to me and handed me a knife.
The brothers knew they had seconds rather than minutes to help the child. Anything that bought them extra time could prove to be a lifesaver.
I just kind of picked my moment, jumped in.
Come on, hurry!
There was an off-duty police officer that was able to bring dry chemical extinguishers, which creates a big cloud of dust. So at that point, John was working in zero visibility.
I really can't see anything. You can't breathe. The child went silent. And, you know, at that moment, you know, both Joel and I are thinking, you know, it's too late. We just lost the child. And then you hear him coughing again and crying again. And, you know, you just get that spark of energy that, you know, I got to do it right now.
Maybe 5 to 10 more seconds, and that young child would have perished in the fire.
I had the knife in my right hand. I proceeded to cut the seatbelt. I felt for the child where his arms were. I kind of said a few words to God. I said, I hope this is it. And I grabbed him, and we both rolled out of the vehicle.
It was a great feeling just to realize we were able to make the rescue.
But the child was not out of danger yet.
His clothes, they're still on, they're still smoldering. A lady brought a garden hose to start the cooling process. He was breathing on his own, he was able to stand, and we were able to cool him off with the garden hose. I believe the whole scenario maybe took for us 2.5 minutes from the time we got the call to the time the fire truck arrived. It seemed like an eternity. Everything was in slow motion.
Emergency services were on the scene shortly after and took over from John and Joel. The 4-year-old boy suffered third-degree burns to 30% of his body. But thanks to the heroic brothers, he had escaped with his life.
We stayed in close contact, and I got to see some pictures of him and his recovery. He's doing remarkably very well. We were able to bring a child out of a situation where he was so close to dying. Got there in time. we were able to do our job and get him out.
It's very sobering to think that your life can be taken in a few seconds and you can do nothing about it.
Oh my God!
John Schroyer knows only too well the power of Mother Nature. As a journalist, it's his job to report it. However, in March 2014, he ended up as the lead character in his own story.
Journalists are not used to being in the limelight. We're used to being the interviewers. We're used to being behind the camera. We're not used to being necessarily in front of the camera and being the story and like telling our story. It's a very strange feeling, honestly.
John lives and works in Colorado Springs. It's an area that's particularly vulnerable to mudslides and flash floods, which in the US claim the lives of 50 people every year. The problem has intensified in Colorado since a large swathe of Waldo Canyon was destroyed in 2012.
There was a really serious wildfire in the foothills to the west of Colorado Springs, which lends itself now to massive flash flooding on the west side because there's no vegetation in certain parts of the hills to actually stop rainwater.
On the afternoon of July the 10th, 2013, cameraman Ed Flanagan was at work, but keen to leave early because of severe weather warnings.
They are very serious. When they issue a flash flood warning, that means a flash flood is imminent. It's going to happen somewhere close by.
Meanwhile, John, who already knew of the warnings, was setting off to cover the unfolding story.
So I started driving up west to a couple of spots where I knew that there were likely to be some flooding in different parts. And I was gonna, just get some footage because that's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do.
Both John and Ed took Route 24, which runs along the base of Waldo Canyon.
The rain has passed. It's just drizzling a little bit. Flash flood's not going to happen. No, the flash flood was yet to happen. It takes several minutes for the waters to make their way down the mountain passes and cause a flash flood. And so you may think you're okay, and you're not.
John was oblivious to the fact that water was cascading onto the road. Ed, however, had seen what was happening and had pulled over to safety.
All of a sudden, I see cars on the highway doing really strange things, turning in weird ways, and brake lights, and then I saw this huge black river heading toward me.
Whoa! Woo! What is that? Holy crap!
Holy moly crap!
Whoa! That was crazy!
The torrent of water was relentless, sweeping away everything in its path, and John was directly in the firing line.
I couldn't see anything really, so initially I thought maybe there was a rock slide that was blocking the highway or something like that. So I pulled over and I was getting my camera ready actually to take some footage of whatever was going on, and that was right when the water hit me. As soon as it did, it just picked my car up and turned me around 180. Like a rag doll, just carried me down the canyon.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Other motorists could only watch as John was swept down the canyon towards the sheer drop of a ravine.
It was jarring how quickly it happened and how incredibly powerful it was.
Wow.
Amusingly, I was still trying to steer. I don't know why. Stupid instinct. kind of tell that I have one hand on the camera and one hand on the steering wheel.
Oh my God. My car is totaled. My car just got totaled.
Several other cars were also carried down the canyon.
I mean, they have no control at all.
Tsunami.
They have no control.
It was just kind of surreal. It was really weird to have nature just turn your car into a raft with no oars, essentially. I mean, it was just unbelievable to me that that was actually happening, but it is a very serious situation. People lose their lives in flash floods all the time. I could have drowned if the floodwaters like got inside the car and just sank the car basically. Yeah, I could have drowned.
Oh my God.
The force of the water is so incredibly strong, and there's nothing really you can do about it. My car basically came to a stop, but I was stuck in this thing for probably about half an hour with all these floodwaters just raging around me basically.
Luckily, John's car beached just a short distance from the ravine, but with the torrents flowing around him, he was far from safe.
I was worried for him. If you look at that river, you see it's running, 20, 30 miles an hour. And if you step into it, you're gone.
If I tried to get out and wade through the water or something like that, it was just going to sweep me off my feet and take me. There's all kinds of other debris, logs and boulders that could have smashed through my back window.
30 minutes after the flash flood began, the water subsided. John was safe.
It's definitely made me a lot more aware of the possibilities in terms of how quickly something can happen, how quickly something can become serious and go bad.
On this occasion, around 20 cars were swept off the highway, but no one was seriously injured. However, just 1 month later, a flash flood claimed a victim in the same area.
These flash floods are an awesome force of nature. In fact, insurance companies call it an act of God. It is amazing and powerful and to be respected.
Oh my God. Wow, look at the plane.
Coming up on World's Worst Disasters. Tornado terror.
This big black cloud just swirling above me.
At St. Louis Airport.
The captain's orders were, everyone get in your seat now and buckle up.
Okay,
Within about 5 seconds, the plane starts rocking.
wow, look at the plane.
This big black cloud just swirling above me.
Well, I knew it was a tornado, man.
I need to be safe. And secondly, where is my fiance?
One of the ladies basically said, we're all gonna die.
The evening of April the 22nd, 2011 was just like any other Friday night at St. Louis Airport, the largest in the state of Missouri.
I was coming home from a work trip. There were storms coming in. It's usual. It happens all the time in St. Louis. You have, massive thunderstorms, and in 30 minutes it's done and sunny out.
Leonora Wendling had arrived early to welcome home her fiancé Derek, who was returning from a business trip in Reno.
I believe he was gone for about a week. So at the time we were long distance, so he lived in Wisconsin and I was here in St. Louis. We had been engaged for no more than 2 weeks, I think, so I was very excited to see him, yeah.
However, those travelers arriving and departing were oblivious to the disaster that was about to unfold.
That day, it was sunny, and as I was driving to the airport, I could see clouds, and one of my friends said, "You realize there's thunderstorms coming?" And I said, "I'm in sun. I don't see anything, so we should be fine."
Trainee therapist Laura Coleman was also passing through the airport.
I don't notice the weather's getting worse. It's light inside with all the lights on, and outside it's dark now, so I can't see outside.
The landing actually was smooth. It was just weird because usually when you come down and you come through the clouds, you can see the city.
I've been at the airport for about 30 minutes, and all of a sudden the sliding doors open, and I hear like a whoosh of air being pulled outside of the building, almost as if someone were to push all the wind out of you, that sound that it makes. And that was my cue that something isn't completely normal.
2 miles away, a severe weather system was developing. Tracked by spotters, it had the makings of a tornado and was heading straight towards St. Louis Airport.
I start to hear really loud air and wind and notice coming through the air filter on the wall above me, dust and just particles coming through the air filter. And so I think that's kind of weird.
Oh, that was nice.
The weather outside was nasty. It was raining a lot. It was very dark, lightning all around. Wow, I just saw that hit. We're just sitting there, and you could see the terminal, the gate, where we were. Every time the pilot was on that radio, it was the exact same wording. We'll get off here in 20 minutes. It should be clearing. The tower says we'll be there. It was always 20 minutes. And every time, you'd hear another groan from all of us on the plane.
As his fiancée Leonora faced the tornado alone in the airport lounge, Derek was forced to stay on the plane.
The captain's orders were, everyone get in your seat now and buckle up.
Airport CCTV cameras captured the exact moment the tornado struck.
Bam. And then bam, bam. And then they just go bam, 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 one by one, all the windows.
Wow.
Once the lights go out, it's basically mass chaos.
The plane's just sitting here and you're just going like this. It felt like turbulence while you're sitting on the ground.
I am really panicked. I don't totally know what's going on or what to think. I know enough to know that if there's a tornado coming, you don't want to be anywhere near doors or windows or exposed areas. You want to be covered.
Let's go, guys!
I could see enough to feel my way towards the restroom, which is where other people were going.
Rain is now coming down on us. I look up and it's like this big black cloud just swirling above me with wood, with glass, with metal, all swirling within it.
The worst thing that I was thinking could happen would be something would split the plane in half. The lady sitting to the left of me thought we were gonna die. People were screaming. Some people were calm. Other people didn't know what was going on.
I was terrified, and then I was also freaking out because I know that Derek at this point had landed because he had texted me at some point before the lights went out saying, hey, I'm on the runway, but they're not letting us taxi up. So my first thought is I need to be safe, and secondly, where is my fiance? I'm thinking the plane is completely upended, or it's crashed into something, or another plane has crashed into them, or there's a vehicle that's hit them, or something completely catastrophic.
I am worrying about her because if this is happening here and she's waiting for me in the airport, what's happening in the airport?
As the tornado passed, the passengers on the plane were allowed to disembark.
Once I walked outside the gates, it kind of dawned on me, seeing everything around me pretty much destroyed. I felt very, very lucky.
I've never seen anything move a plane on the tarmac, though.
Meeting up with Leia once we finally got off the flight was very comforting, just because she was safe. I could see her, she wasn't hurt. God, thank goodness, you're fine, you're safe.
And I just remember being so excited to see him and like hold his hand and give him a hug.
In spite of the damage, only 4 people were taken to hospital with injuries, and the airport reopened 24 hours later. But the tornado has left lasting scars.
It's a moment of complete lack of control. It's the only time in my life that I've felt true terror.
Being filthy rich just isn't enough for some folks. The Ewings return with more scandal and intrigue in the season premiere of Dallas, tonight at 10. Next, it's Celebrity Big Brother.